Today we're tackling something that has been demonized for decades: salt.
Please don't be afraid of salt. We've been lied to about sodium.
So we had a nutritionist on the show, and she said one of the leading causes of mortality is too much salt in your diet.
Too much sodium chloride in your diet. Not too much sodium. So iodized table salt is terrible for you.
And so here's the question. Why do we still fear salt? Salt is bad. It raises your blood pressure. End of story. But what if that's only the half truth? So back in the mid-1900s, there were a few small studies that linked salt intake to high blood pressure. So researchers were like, dude, eureka! Salt causes hypertension. And of course, that researcher definitely wasn't influenced by the sugar industry to divert attention away from their own data. No, that kind of thing would never happen in government-funded science. Salt might not be the villain after all. Many experts now point to insulin resistance.
If you have humans cut back their salt considerably, they become insulin resistant. So take a healthy group of humans, say you need to eat less salt, and they do so. If you measure them a week later while they're adhering to this, they will be significantly more insulin resistant than before they ever cut back their salt. It's one of the ironies of the whole scenario where a physician may be telling a patient with high blood pressure, you need to cut back your salt. And they end up eating less salt, and yet their blood pressure gets worse. It's because the main contributor to high blood pressure is insulin resistance, and by telling them to cut back on their salt, you made them more insulin resistant. And that whole mechanism is because one of insulin's many, many effects is to want the body to hold on to salt and water. And so if you start cutting your salt, all of a sudden insulin says, well, there's a little salt coming in. I need to do what I can to retain whatever salt we do have.
So maybe it's not the shaker, maybe it's the sugar. And you know what's also interesting? Some say salt was never the bad guy. It was a convenient distraction. Because in the 1960s, the sugar industry actually funded research to make fat and salt look like the bad guys, while sugar quietly got a free pass.
You are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you.
Ever think sometimes bad science just snowballs? A few small studies, a few big headlines, and suddenly salt is public enemy number one. And once an idea becomes official, who's brave enough to question it? Now, I'm not saying all salt is created equal, because that is not true. So the refined table salt in most restaurants and hospitals is completely stripped of trace minerals.
Celtic salt contains 82 minerals. It contains magnesium chloride, magnesium bromide, and magnesium sulfate. And because magnesium is a water-hungry molecule, it can be used to help the water get into the cell. So when you take a crystal of Celtic salt, put it on your tongue, your mucous membranes start absorbing the minerals, the magnesium is taken to the cell membrane, and you drink your water, and that magnesium pulls that water inside the cell. It's the quickest way to hydrate a body.
But natural salts like Celtic, Himalayan, Baja Gold, and kosher, they contain dozens of minerals that help your body function properly. And here's something kind of fascinating too. Large-scale studies suggest that people who consume too little sodium actually have higher risks of heart events compared to those getting moderate amounts. Pop quiz. If you show up in the emergency room with dangerously high blood pressure, what kind of IV fluid might you get? If you said normal saline, ding, 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 which is essentially salt water with the same concentration as your blood, you're correct.
Let's say that right now, right this moment, your blood pressure was so high, you called 999. When the paramedics show up at your house, if your blood pressure is sky high, you know what they're going to do? They're going to bag you with sodium. They're going to start an IV line, and they're going to take 9.9% sodium chloride, so straight salt water, and they're going to bag that into your vein to lower your blood pressure. You are not hydrated when you have water in your blood. You're hydrated when you have water in your tissues.
It keeps fluids balanced and your cells stable. Also, a little fun fact is that your kidneys literally run on sodium-potassium pumps. Tiny engines powered by salt. Cut salt too low, your kidneys can't move water properly. That fluid retention can then raise your blood pressure, and then, ironically, we treat it with diuretics like Lasix, which then alter how your body handles sodium and water. Salt is too simple, too cheap. You can't patent salt, but you can patent a pill that fixes what happens when you cut it too low. So maybe the story isn't salt is bad, but context matters. I'm just the nurse who questions, reminding you to stay curious, stay kind, and keep questioning. Until next time, stay salty in the best way possible.